The feds have investigated themselves and cleared themselves of any wrongdoing. The Kate Daly Show starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control.
That is JFK. Now, JFK was not actually the beacon of honesty either. I mean, he got in certain ways. There was presidency controlled, yada, yada, yada. Welcome to the Kate Daly Show. But what he is saying is right on the money, and I like that. But at least he's saying it, okay? I don't know if I should say that. At least he's saying it, but he is. So they're identifying the biggest problem in that we give everything away for security, and how corrupt the government is to its core, how it's always been corrupt to its core. Even in the Bible, the government is corrupt to its core. Nothing has changed. The nature of man has not changed when given power. Melissa, Midwest Melissa, how are you?
I am so wonderful.
Excellent.
I'm always wonderful on Wednesday afternoon.
Right? Thank you for joining me.
Always.
We're going to be talking about corruption. And I was thinking about this before the show because there's an app now. You can follow your congressman to know when to sell stock.
I need that app.
Well, I mean, isn't that sad that we follow the congressmen? They're such cockroaches. I don't know of a good one, to tell you the truth, anymore. Maybe Thomas Massey. There's maybe one in Texas. My state has no good people in Congress at all. We either have complete morons or they're totally corrupt in the state of Utah. So I'm telling you that if we have an app that tells us when they're selling stock because they're so hooked in and given all of these little wink, wink, nudge, nudges before things go sour, that's a pretty sad state of affairs in our country. If you have to follow your congressman for insider information on when to sell stock.
I just saw a news article just kind of float by that said Warren Buffett was selling all of his Apple stock. I'm like, wonder what that's about.
Apple stock.
And I just thought, isn't that fascinating? And then that was right before everything kind of fell apart.
Right
here the last couple of days, and I thought, who told Warren Buffett?
Exactly,
somebody did. How did he know?
I always think it's kind of amusing too, as a side note, that when the multi-billionaires, the propped up puppets like Zuckerberg, who never did a thing in his life, but he's the face of Facebook, when he builds a bunker, it's okay. When we build a bunker, we're nuts. So I just want to say,
well, that's because Palantir told them that.
Okay.
Palantir says Kate Daly, she's a nutbag.
Yeah,
Zuckerberg,
for sure.
A-okay.
Yeah, it's okay to build a bunker. So it's cool. Here's the rooms in the bunker. Yeah, if we do it, we're nuts. So let's talk about corruption, shall we?
Well, yeah. And I think the place that I want to start is just to ask, what is corruption? What counts as corruption these days? Is it your next door neighbor that's cheating on their wife? Is that corruption? Is it your local your homeowners association? How about that? But really local corruption. What does local corruption look like? Is it the guys that are running your town council that are making land deals on the side and behind closed doors to sell their property for a bonus, but nobody else knows about it, so it's A-okay?
Yep. Going on everywhere, even in my town.
Yeah, and it's in my town. I just gave you a description, and I know that you were probably sitting there thinking, Melissa's using an example from your town.
Yeah.
But no, I'm using an example from my town, and we're 1,800 miles apart.
Yeah.
So corruption seems to be growing everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the real question, I guess, is why? And we know that there have always been bad actors. That's not new.
Yeah.
Is it really growing, or where is it growing? And this is going to get ugly before we're done. Because I do think that there was a study that was done on people by the National Institute of Justice, and they quantified unlawful behavior at the local, state, and federal level. And believe it or not, it looks different depending on the kind of corruption that you have. At the local level, it's mostly bribery. When you get up to the
Kickbacks.
federal level, it's bribery and fraud. But people at the state level are free to do a lot of crazy, weird, ugly, immoral things too.
Right.
It's everywhere. It's kind of riddled through our entire society. And the thing that really bothers me about corruption is that corruption is kind of an invisible crime against the people. It's invisible. That's the nature of corruption, isn't it?
Yeah.
That if we could see it out in the open, it wouldn't be corrupt.
It's so true.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and her statement to me was, they all do it. They all do it. Why should I care?
Yeah.
They all do it. And I'm like, well, we should all care, because that kind of corruption at the local level, it costs more to build the bridge. It costs more to build the road. It costs more to, clean the snow off the streets, because somebody's got a sweetheart deal somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I can actually tell you from experience doing this 14 years now almost. And it's interesting. I live in the St. George area of southern Utah, which is on the border of Arizona. Okay. And so we're actually about an hour and a half north of Las Vegas. Okay. We're in the desert. And I can tell you that this was a very, very red area. Not anymore. And one of the biggest excuses, scapegoats that I heard from local politicians right to my face, and I seriously am not lying about this, one of the biggest things was, if I nailed them on something, they would tell me either an email or to my face that this is how it's done, how it's always been done, or how it's been done for the time that they're aware of. And so it's okay to do it again. And I'm not allowed to speak locally anymore on the air. So that's unfortunate. And they had a lot to do with that. But they didn't want me talking about the fact that a budget used to be printed in the newspaper in the 1940s. You could actually get the budget. It was like 5 lines, and here's what we're paying for. And now it's very corrupt. They don't print it in the newspaper because it's so many pages, and they hide a lot of money. There's a lot of kickbacks going on. And a lot of them have the mentality, unfortunately, they're some of the worst people I've ever known in my life, is, well, they've always done it that way. And I say, well, you have the power now. You're in position to change that. Oh, no, can't change it. Nope, no, I can't change. We shouldn't change it, really. And this is how they come across to me. We shouldn't change it because it's been working. Well, it works because it pads your pocket, or it gives the city money that they shouldn't have from the feds or the state or what have you. And we are now tied with apron strings to both. But in their minds, that's what they always say to themselves is, well, the previous mayor did it, so it's okay.
Well,
the previous commissioner did it. It's okay.
Corruption is sold as a victimless crime.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not, if it gets things done, then what's the problem? It's not hurting anybody, but it is hurting people.
Yeah, they think it's not.
Hurting. They think it's not. It hurts ordinary taxpayers. It hurts ordinary people that have to cough up money out of their household budgets to pay for that.
Well, here's 2 things. If we have enough money to give to every country in the world, which is pretty much what we're doing, okay, across the board, save a few, all right, every single year, then they're taking too much from you or printing too much. If your city is giving away $240,000 for a theater, okay, which they don't have the right to do, if the tickets can't haul people in their butts in the seats, then you shouldn't be a theater, right? But if the cities can do this, and that's what's going on in my hometown right now, if the cities can do this and they have a slush fund where hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars are sitting there, they're taking too much taxation from you. This should not be hard to figure out, right?
And that's the cost.
Yeah.
But it's an invisible cost.
Yeah.
Because all the public sees is, look, this theater is being built.
Right.
Look, I'm going to
it's
go
the
to that
arts.
theater. It's going to be great for me. You know, I always wanted to see, Wicked on the Broadway stage, and now I get to see it in my hometown, right?
But here's but here's the deal, though. It's like a pool. It's like a golf course. It's like anything. They have no right to take your money from you at the point of a gun, because that's pretty much what it is now, right? And they take your money legally from you and then illegally spend it on businesses that they illegally profit from. They were never supposed to go into business with your money because government's horrible at going into business. It's called the Yellow Pages test. If you can find it in the Yellow Pages, that your local government or state government should not be in that business, right?
Amen. Amen. And the other thing, corruption is never impartial.
Yep.
It's not impartial. It's not a level playing field, and it hurts entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Maybe I had a plan to build that theater, but now I can't because the playing field is no longer level. It's twisted to favor the people who are paying off the bribe. So not only is it more expensive, but it's also robbing an entrepreneur of an opportunity.
Yes.
And it's hurting everybody that's paying for it.
Yes. Caller, you've got 45 seconds. Go.
Yes, you hit it right on the nail right on the head when you, Kate, when you referred to rights. It violates people's rights, whether it's a right to live, it's a right to own their property, whatever right, individual inalienable right it is. And criminality works. It works for the criminal. But they use deception, a tremendous amount of deception. 90% of all that the federal government does is unconstitutional. It's illegal. But they deceive the people into not knowing what's in the Constitution, so they don't say that it's call it corruption. And they vote for both corrupt candidates are all
I'm with you. I'm so with you. Thank you for the call. I really appreciate it. Now they're into banning media that exposes them, and this is why all across the country you will not find any local station that talks about the corrupt goings on of the government within local community anymore, because they have taken moves to ban anything that exposes what they're doing in the most heinous ways to the people directly. Be right back. Kate Daly Show.
Thanks for listening to the Kate Daly Show.